Hello, Rebel GMan 10F. Welcome back to your recaps for week 7. I am joined once again by McNugget.
Hello, Division 10F.
And I am, of course, Full Metal. And we are going to talk about what's gone on this week. Now, there's a big 4-1 we're not going to talk about, because that's technically from week 8. So look forward to talking about Crystal Hunter finally doing something. But we're going to look at what happened. Oh, gosh. Shall we start from the bottom or the top? Dealer's choice.
At the top, because I think I know what's happened in the bottom game, and I want to save that for last.
Okay. It's Oslo Snake Club taking Fairy Heron down 2-0. That's a big result.
That was.
I don't think we saw that coming, if I'm honest.
The problem was I don't think the Rats seen it coming.
We were looking the other way and got smacked upside the head, and it was just like, oh, it happened.
Yeah,
Big win for Oslo Snake Club. It's kind of that I feel like may have messed up the leaderboard a little bit. I can't wait to go and check that out in a moment. From the stars, we knew that was a 2-1 because I think that was already played. Am I right in saying?
I think it was, if we remember correctly, yes.
And the other rat team in the division taking a loss as well at 2-1 down to only Fools and Hobgoblins. Now the rats are getting. Did the Gamma 7 finally show up?
I remember we said last week that this could be the round where a lot of these teams that were in 3rd, 4th, 5th could do a big jump up if the top couple of teams lost, and that may have happened. I think pressure.
Oh, it was the Tabatellas versus the Arrogant Bar Stewards that had played 2-1, in fact. That was the one that got played. Now, Rarimbo's Orcs took on Angry Altma. They got a 2-1. That's a solid result. Angry Altma, not going to be happy with that because they were somewhat resurgent over the past few weeks. So I think that may have upset the balance depending on the casualties. We'll have to check the teams after we check the leaderboards. And finally, Contract Killers.
Yes.
Big fat 2-0 against the Rebel Vikings.
If you click into that game as well, Metal, you will see he is back. Bernie, Team Killer Buffon got a kill.
Only the one, though. He didn't kill the entire team, just one of them. I think the bigger problem was the fact that the elves got like 4 armor bricks.
Yes, but
Ouch.
It doesn't matter. He's back. Bernie's back, boys.
We'll have to see if it was particularly brutal. That being said, Crystal Hunter has gone top, but he is a game up.
Yes.
Worthy of note, he is a game up, and he's literally only 1 point ahead of Noru and 2 points ahead of Keith Carr. So either of those find a win this week, and they'll be ahead of him again. He's also only 2 points ahead of Bernie. So if Bernie finds a win, he's also up ahead of Crystal Hunter. So Crystal Hunter's lead might be very temporary, and it certainly is very tenuous. That being said, Angry Altma is still in the race. Bernie Buffon, obviously, we just mentioned. And finally, only Fools and Hobgoblins and Rarimbo. It's going to get hard, but they've got 3 more weeks. Is it 3 weeks? 4? It's week 8, week 9,
7, 8.
week 10, 11. 4 weeks, including this week. So there's 4 more games.
Yeah.
That is enough, I think, to keep Rarimbo in by the narrowest of margins.
I think so. If
But you'd have to go
on
on
all
10.
4. He'd be on 22. The team's on 16. There would need to be a lot of losses from the top, but.
Mm-hmm. And like I say, Oslo State Club's coming in from 10th with that win. We did say that was one that he couldn't afford to lose, really, because you're playing. There's a point where you're playing someone so far down the table, you just cannot afford to lose that game, because it's you're gonna have harder games afterwards. And I think that's a big one for Rajin Arashi. He's gonna be happy with that. Right.
Definitely, well deserved.
Let's have a look at the team, see how they're doing. Directed by me, seems to be persistently hanging around the same team value. They're up to 3 guard now, and a strength 4 zombie, which is. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna slap that out there.
You do it, Mel. You do that.
Yeah, it's bold.
It's bold.
Categorically bold. I don't like spending 90k on a zombie with no skills, but strength 4. I don't personally think that's good enough.
My only thing now, in its defence, on a necro, I don't like it so much because you have flesh golems, but it is on an undead team where if you were to get it to block or guard, it can be very, very good.
It's very
because it's a bit extra
though.
strength. It is.
I don't know.
But,
I'm not the biggest fan, but you know what? Right, you're right. It could work out. It's like I say. That's why we've got the bold sticker on screen. Moving on, like I said, I haven't said it this one. We said it in the last recap, not this recap.
No.
We are going quickly tonight, so it's going to be a little bit shorter and a little bit more rapid than usual. Sadly, McNugget has a tabletop tournament to head to in the morning, and because I literally flew in from Prague very late last night, and my flight was delayed as well, so I'm knackered. So we're not going to go into as much depth as you're used to, and I am sorry for that. Meanwhile, switch over Crystal Hunter. Hey, he's got some skills, but we're not going to talk about this team because we can talk about it next week.
He gets these skills next week,
to be
so
fair,
we'll make him wait another
that
week.
many skills. He's got a couple of skills.
It's Crystal Hunter, right? Any skills are an improvement.
Any skills are some skills. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
How has JP Casey done for themselves? I don't think they've really got much in the way of. The summoner, that's new, isn't it, Guard?
It looks to be the
I
guard.
like Guard lineman on Dark Elves.
Yes, it's very good when you get them to block and dodge.
I feel like JP Casey's very kind of like he's on silent running a little bit. They're not making like this big splash, but they are developing nicely in the background. And I think, comes their second season, this is going to be a team that's going to have the right skills in the right places to do really well. Yes,
a slow burner team that. Definitely, I think by the end of the season, if they stay intact, they will be very strong come next season.
And they took our advice and made a couple of vanity passes by the by, so they got themselves some level ups, and indeed they did. Genuinely, in Discord, I don't know if anyone else saw this, they credited me with getting guard on the player.
It's a lie. It's a lie, right? I'm sick of all this credit and metal with everything.
I'm taking it.
I'm a recapper too.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're a guest.
I hope Bernie kills all your teams now.
Oh god, look at this. Noru's team's looking really good. He finally hit the jackpot, didn't he? Thing from the stars, boom, might blow. Thank you.
Yep.
And
that's what you want.
A movement 9. I mean, Jesus, that's perfect, right?
That's your werewolf's done. Now, the only worry that you're going to have is what comes along with good werewolves metal or necro teams.
Dead whites. Dead flesh columns as well, actually.
Yep.
Mostly
flesh
flesh columns or whites.
Yep. The flesh column tax will need to be paid.
I mean, the flesh columns aren't that good, so it's okay.
No.
Give up the swine thing and it'll be fine.
Yes. But no, Claw Mighty Blow on Thing from the Stars and Plus Movement, as you said, that's your necro team basically done.
They're in a really good spot. I mean, they could roll normals for the rest of their career and they'd both still be brilliant.
Definitely. I think you now probably turn to in games. You're at that awkward stage where Noru is also still pushing for the playing spot, but you ideally want to try and use these games to develop your flesh golems and whites, which means handoffs.
Yeah, getting
that
a
tricky
level
balance
on Shrine King would be fantastic. Getting even just block on a flesh golem is night and day difference.
Exactly, and the whites are really so getting Doomed Miller up to at least guard as well. But it's
not as hard as it might seem. I mean, that's only a touchdown and a vanity pass, and you can pass because you are Agi3 to Agi3. I mean, it's not like you're asking a flesh golem to pass or something.
No, true, but it's can you get ahead enough in games where you can do this?
Well,
because
you do
when you're at the middle of the table, when you're at the middle of the table, vanity passes are all good because you're at the middle of the table and you're just developing. But when you're still in with a chance for play-ins, it's that. I have a lot of it. Do I just score on the Hobgoblin and take the 1-0 win, or do I try a handoff to a Bull? And then I remember what position I am in the table and I run it in with the Hobgoblin.
That makes sense. Moving on to the man of the moment. The man of the moment, Raijin Arashi, has got more guard than you can shake a stick at this point. He's looking good. He's got 4 guard on this team. I like that.
There's no words for the amount of guard on this team. It is very good for this stage of the season.
Yeah, Orcs love guard. Love it. They love the brawl. Have you played this team yet?
It's not my division.
Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, of course, yeah. You haven't. I keep... Oh, look, right, I'm tired. Were even you to play this? You've got to really
I don't mind playing this team.
I think you'd struggle, because 4 strength 4 and 4 guard on top of that. Like, you've still got to hit them. That's the problem at this point. And this is really solid. Like, that werewolf is in a lot of trouble if they hadn't if Noru hasn't played yet. We just talk about how great a Mighty Blow Werewolf is, but it's got Frenzy and there's guard everywhere.
It's got a lot of guard, yeah.
So good luck
This
getting
is
the 2
another
dice.
stage where I think Regine Arashi should just be looking at games that he's playing and saying, can I hand off to a Black Orc in this game? Just to get the other 2 leveled, possibly into block or guard. The blitzers tend to take care of themselves quite often because you're blitzing with them, surprisingly enough.
Like I said, should he decide to keep the team, and I really think at this point he should, he's going to be, like we said about JP Casey, Raijin Arashi is going to be a threat next season because his team's just coming together really nicely.
Definitely.
We're at that point
I would like to see this team next season. I would like to see this team come back next season.
Right, moving on to the other orcs, the yellow ones, Rarimbo's lot. Don't quite have as much guard, slightly more block. It's still a great looking team. Dodge on the thrower is nice. That's nice.
This looks just to be so the Black Orcs have taken the block over the guard, which for the slower development is a smart move, but it just means they switch over, so guard next for them.
It's block then guard or guard then block, isn't it? That's the 2 real choice. Don't do the Mighty Blow route. No. Mighty Blow can be third. Although Stand Firm is so good, sometimes that's third instead. It's Black Orcs is legitimately difficult to decide what to give them because you kind of want to give them Mighty Blow so that it doesn't take forever to get to like 60 SPP. But at the same time, like block.
All you need is block guard.
Block guard, stand firm. Fair. Block guard and stand firm is amazing. It is,
but even just block guard is so strong on its own because your orcs, you just control so much of the pitch.
It's another slow burn team. I think next season again they're going to be one to watch, and I like that. I like the fact that we can watch these teams develop across seasons. That's one of my favorite things about the Eternal League format. So yeah, I want to look at this team because they've killed some stuff now, and oh my, that's just gross. Have you seen what he's done with his bulls? They both have dodge.
He kills your team. He does not care. He'll dodge to kill your team now.
That's actually really they're really good levels. I mean, they're going to be blodge strength 4 by 16 SPP, and that's gross.
That's now, Bernie. Do the smart thing. Do not dare make one of them the carrier.
No, I think you make them both mobile. Like I would love to see them both go block next,
break tackle
afterwards. And then one of them maybe take Frenzy. I love Frenzy Bulls. That's really strong. And the other one, just see where you go with it. Maybe take Mighty Blow and Tackle and make him a sweeper.
I just have images of Blodge, Guard, Stand Firm on Bulls.
That's gross. Just make them like really fast Black Orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a nice looking team. He's definitely developed a carrier that he's got the issue hands. He's got his dirty player in position. He's got guard on a hobgoblin, which is lovely. His chorfs are still very undeveloped themselves, however.
It's the SPP, the MVP steal. So I know in his last game, I think it was the Postman stole MVP, which Bernie will not be complaining about. Bulls taking MVPs you're happy with.
Well, yeah, especially when it gets dodge when it levels up. Jesus.
But the severe lack of Chorf MVP over Hobgoblin MVP, I think, is where a lot of the development's been stolen away to.
But he still killed a dude, so it's okay.
Exactly, that's all I care about.
Speaking of dead dudes, it was off of this team, so let's see what it's missing. It wasn't a ward answer. It may have been a catcher, looking at the significant lack of catches on this team.
Ooh, it could be, yes. That's never nice to see.
He has grabbed plus movement on alignment.
Have we had that before?
I don't think that's new. I think that's new.
6 SPP, it is. If you've not got a catcher, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose if your catcher did just get killed by the killer of teams himself. I don't really know what to advise Hargrim. He really needs to get rid of Ragnar, but he can't afford to till Floki gets strip ball, which is it's just not happening for him. It just feels like he's had a bit of a bad season, and to be honest, I don't know if the advice for me would maybe be to re-roll coming into next season and try a fresh Wood Elf team, take a fresh swing at things. I don't, with what you've learned. And I don't like encouraging re-rolling. Yeah. I don't like it, but the team just doesn't have much special going for it, and it's a lot of pain replacing the positionals that he needs to replace.
what I would like to see perhaps then is look. So we're looking at the position on the leaderboard as well. Hargrim not out of the contention really for the playoffs. Is these last 3, 4, 5 games is just going full Wood Elf. I'm going to try and turn people over, score a lot, and just try to get as much SPP to see what you can develop. And
yeah, I mean, like if you suddenly,
you know what I mean. At the end of the season, you can you can save up a bit of gold and buy somebody off the transfer market. But just realistically going right, if I lose 4-3, I've still scored 3 touchdowns and got a whole load of SPP.
Yeah, probably some passes and an MVP. Yeah, no, I think you just go all out at this point. You completely disregard the health of your team and just go balls to the wall to try and see if you can find something worth saving. Oh, and fire Rollo, for crying out loud. It's got 6 armor value with 2 SPP.
Yeah.
But I think that's just the way he's got to play it. I really do. Angry Alma.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
They've took a trimming. It's a strength 2 lineman. He's dead.
That's okay. It's fine. He's dead.
Yes. Goodbye, Hero.
Still 9 players when he goes, but again, it's SBP on position. So we've got the Mighty Bull Blitzer. This team has went through the ringer a lot though. I'm trying to remember exactly how many deaths they've had on positionals, but there's been quite a few. So
well, they've sustained 3 deaths.
And at least one of them was a blitzer. So I just think it's the stage of it's high elf season 1 syndrome.
They did get the MVP landed on Manny Marco, so he's a whole 5 SPP closer to his next skill, which is pretty fantastic.
Exactly. It's the season 1 of high elves where you're just trying to get some levels on positional, some line fodder, and just getting as much out of them as you can.
Yeah, I think he's still got the potential. He's still in a position where he can make playoffs, so he can't afford to be too... he can't take the Hargrim advice we've just given. He needs to play a bit more cautious and definitely still try and preserve his team during his push for the wins. But I think he might have it in him. I think he might be the one that we never saw coming. And that's pretty awesome. Like, I like that.
Oh, yes.
Speaking about high elves, we've got Rugbart, who is a very similar looking high elf who... Oh gosh, that's some bad cat. Well, renamed is dead. And I think we can almost say, yay, hooray, that the catcher that he forgot to rename to match the rest of his naming scheme is probably dead with the -.
Oh no, I think this was a catcher named specifically to make you have the most difficulty pronouncing it, which is punishment because it's now going to get fired.
Yeah.
Now, if you'd done that on a lineman, you wouldn't care, but that's a block catcher.
Yeah, that's a little bit upsetting. 11 SPP down the can isn't the best, but the rest of the team looks nice. I mean, he's got a wrestle catcher, mighty blow blitzer, blodge blitzer. It's coming along nicely.
Yeah. Again, it's just getting more SPP into the high elf. High elf teams take that 2-3 seasons to really hit their peak.
High elf teams are big. They're up there, aren't they?
They're the slowest to level elf teams. But once they're leveled, they're one of the stronger ones.
Right, moving on. We've only got a couple of teams left to look at. We've got the Salmon, and then we've got Furry Harem and by Keith Carr. Now this is another... What is this division feeding its bulls? There's 3 Dodge bulls in this division. This one has Blodge.
I wanted Blodge Bull.
And I'm assuming Pendrados Blast Faster is... It's a name. He's going to be getting Dodge in 3 SPP because that's just how he rolls, right?
Pretty much.
I'm also pretty sure he's picked up a second Dirty Player.
Yeah, I'm thinking that as well.
Strongly, I support this decision, Simon. Well done.
It's a Choff team that's just looking for MVPs, begging for them on their chores.
Yeah, it really is. It's got more... I mean, look at that. I mean,
okay.
How the hell have you got 37 SPP on a 1-season Choff that doesn't have Claw?
I'm going to take the hint that it's probably got about 5 MVPs. Oh, look, it's got 5 MVPs.
Well, that'll do it for you, won't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still a really good player. It's just an insane amount of SPP to have on a Choff blocker that doesn't have Claw.
You're looking at the 5 there thinking, could I not have got at least 3 of them on my 3 Choffs that are waiting to level from an MVP?
Yeah, it's quite true. But it's still doing okay. I mean, they'll catch up eventually. And finally, definitely. Keith of the Car. It's a
Keith of the Furry Harem Car. Yes.
He's only really lost a lineman here, and it looks like it's just a Mystics game,
Injury?
so that's not a problem. Team's fairly intact.
I'm sure you're disappointed nobody's killed the Roger yet.
I would be, except I played Keith in clan this last round, and I niggled his Rat Ogre.
Oh, so you got your own back on him.
So yeah, I feel okay that he's got a Roger here because I took one away from him elsewhere,
right.
And his other one was better. So,
but yeah, Keith living the Skaven dream of the Movement 10 gut runner.
I have to tell you though, he then beat me because he did 2 one-turners back to back, which was gross.
Yeah, that's the benefit of the one. That's why you need to kill them quick.
Well, this one is only got move and has only got 7 SPP, but I expect Rear 2 to very quickly hit 16 SPP and find Sprint.
See, I expect Rear 2 to very quickly be retired because it was killed by Bernie or someone.
When do they play? That's the question. Right? We're going to look at who's playing who next to see what this next week looks like. Well, we already found the Rat Rebel have taken directive by me, and we're going to focus on that next week, but that's a huge win for them. Fairy Harem are taking on Angry Altmer, so that is almost a bit of a shootout if Keith wants it. And I know Keith. I've played Keith a few times. He likes to score fast. So if Martin Septim is of a mind, that could go very high in touchdowns.
Yes.
And we were just talking about this actually for Rebel Vikings as well. They want to just go balls to the wall and score fast. They're playing the High Elf team. They're playing the other High Elf team, who also like to score a lot.
Exactly. 4 teams there that probably want the high scores for the SPP and really take advantage of that factor as well. Up next, we've obviously got the Chorfoff.
Basically, what we're trying to say is, can anyone find more than 5 touchdowns in a game? Because we've already got a game confirmed this week with 5 touchdowns in it. We're looking at the top 2 games. Can you give us more than 5 touchdowns in one match? That's your job.
I'd be more impressed if you got 5 touchdowns in the Contract Killers versus Only Fools and Hobgoblins game.
Well, I feel like that's basically going to be. It's one of those classic
versus Lodge Bull.
It's one of those classic who can roll the armor breaks against AV9. That's how that game will come down to it. It will Bernie roll more armor breaks, or will the Salmon roll more armor breaks, and that's about the long and the short of it. It's going to be one of the more boring games of the week because no one's got claw, and they're both chorfs, but it's very, very important for Bernie to do well there.
Yes.
And I believe, with Salmon in the position he is, it's incredibly important for him to do well. If he wants to look.
We're getting to the end of the season here, all these games that you can't really afford to draw anymore. Mm-hmm. It's got to be wins if you want to.
Speaking about that, From the Stars have got one of those right here against Rainbow Orcs.
Now, Rainbow Orcs, the Orc team with the lesser amount of guard, but 2 black Orcs and a couple of guards still there, and the Trolls, so this could be an interesting game. I think it's going to be Wolf versus Orcs fouling.
Yes, I feel like when the Mighty Blow Werewolf goes down, it needs to be kicked squarely in the head. But again, it's always the problem that it is very hard to get those 2 dice blocks when you're playing against a guy with a lot of strength 4 and some guard. If you set up well, you can really minimise the potential hits he can take without worrying about frenzy traps.
Yeah.
And finally, Tabatella's take on Oslo Snake Club, and this is a tough one for JP Casey.
It is. This is the one I just think where the Orcs might end up bullying the Dark Elves just with their large amount of guard.
I would give it to the Orcs as well, simply because they've got some momentum behind them. That was such a huge win last week that Definitely. I feel like they're coming in with a very, if they allow that to carry them forward and really kind of buoy up their mentality and they just kind of go and do what Orcs do in this kind of matchup, which is just the slow grind, wear them down, punch them up a lot. It's probably going to go well for Oslo Snake Club. JP Casey could pull out a surprise, and I really hope they have it in the tank. Because I mean, they're really lovely. So,
even though they play Dark Elves, are you sure? I don't think I've ever heard you say that about a Dark Elf coach.
Well, look, right, they credited me for getting the player guard, so I'm clearly
that's definitely wrong there.
JP
Casey, I hope the Orcs murdered your team for forgetting about me.
Anyway. Thank you very much, McNugget. There's some good games to watch. There's some good, exciting games.
I'm going to predict Crystal Hunter might get some SPP this week.
I have a prediction that Crystal Hunter's team is, if we actually talk about the level ups, is going to look really good.
Yeah, but that's next week.
That's for the future. He got some level ups. He's not hunting those levels anymore quite as much. That being said, thank you very much for joining us, McNugget. Have a good weekend at your tournament.
Thank you very much. Anybody that is at the JKTC, feel free to come over and say hi. And we will see you next week.
I will catch you next week, guys. You all stay classy.